My house was my sanctuary. After years of saving, I finally bought a beautiful two-story home in a quiet suburban neighborhood. The house needed some work, but I was ready to roll up my sleeves. What I wasn't ready for was the living nightmare that would come attached to the property in the form of a woman named Karen Delaney, the HOA president. Now, I'd heard horror stories about HOAs before, but nothing prepared me for the aggressive, entitled energy Karen radiated. From the moment I moved in, she made it clear she believed she owned the entire neighborhood, including my house. "You'll need to get HOA approval before painting that porch," she snapped on my second day, walking up uninvited onto my property. "I'm just sweeping it," I said, trying to be polite. She looked over her glasses. "Still, just a reminder, we do things properly here." I gave her a forced smile and went about my day, not realizing this was just the beginning. Over the next few weeks, she cited me for unauthorized lawn decor, a solar light, parking violations, my truck was in my driveway, and visible tools, a ladder leaning against the garage for 2 hours. Every petty complaint came with a printed violation notice on official HOA letterhead, signed by Karen herself. I responded to the notices in writing, citing my rights as a homeowner and confirming that many of her rules weren't enforceable. She didn't like that at all. Then one weekend I went out of town to visit family. When I returned late Sunday evening, something immediately felt off. My key wouldn't fit in the front door. Confused and thinking it might be a faulty lock, I checked the garage. That code didn't work either. I walked around back and found a new deadbolt on the patio door too. My heart pounded. Had I been robbed? Then I saw the note taped to the window. Access temporarily revoked due to security concerns. Contact HOA to resolve. Karen Delaney, president. I was stunned. She had changed my locks on my home. Without a court order, without contacting me, without even so much as an email. And she had no legal right to do any of it. I called the police immediately. They arrived, reviewed the situation, and were just as shocked as I was. But since there was no evidence of forced entry or immediate threat, they couldn't break in for me. I had to call a locksmith, who took 3 hours and $450 to get me back inside. Once in, I inspected the whole house. Thankfully, nothing was stolen, but my sense of safety was gone. Karen had clearly crossed a major legal line. I contacted a lawyer the next morning, and together we began drafting a formal complaint. But I wasn't done. No, I wanted to make absolutely sure she could never pull this stunt again. So I called a contractor. Within 2 weeks, my front door was replaced with a custom-fitted, reinforced steel security door, complete with a biometric lock, coded entry and reinforced hinges. It was the kind of door you see in banks, not something you'd expect on a suburban house. I also installed cameras, front, back, sides, every angle covered, motion lights, alarms, even a backup battery in case someone decided to cut the power. My home was now a fortress. Karen noticed immediately. The morning after the install, I caught her on camera trying to peek through my window and pushing the door handle repeatedly. When she realized she couldn't get in, she actually called the police on me, claiming I had installed an unauthorized structure on the property. The responding officer knocked politely, reviewed the permits I already had in hand, and left with an amused smile. Karen, not so amused, she escalated her harassment. Fines, letters, even showing up at my door with 2 other HOA board members trying to inspect my house. I politely declined and handed them a cease and desist letter, drafted by my attorney. When that didn't work, I filed a civil suit. My attorney was brilliant. She presented the lock change as unlawful entry and trespassing, supported by camera footage, time-stamped locksmith receipts, and screenshots of Karen's own note admitting she had restricted my access. We also submitted the bogus fines, the harassment reports, and statements from 2 neighbors who overheard. Karen bragging about teaching the new guy a lesson. The case didn't just go in my favor, it blew up in her face. The court ordered Karen to personally pay me $18,000 in damages and legal fees. The HOA itself was forced to amend its charter, implement new oversight rules, and issue a public apology. Karen was voted out as president within weeks of the ruling. But the best part, the final day of court, as we walked out, she tried one last time to speak to me. "You didn't have to take it this far," she hissed. I smiled. You broke into my home and locked me out. You're lucky I stopped at court." She stormed off, and that was the last time she ever came near my house. Since then, peace has returned. My steel door stands tall, not just as a symbol of security, but as a reminder. You don't let tyrants walk all over you, especially when they come disguised in HOA authority and a bad haircut. And you know what? The neighborhood's never been better. The new HOA board is actually helpful. The rules are fair and people no longer live in fear of Karen's clipboard. As for me, I still get compliments on the door. Looks like Fort Knox. One neighbor laughed. "Yep," I replied. "And it keeps the Karens out."